every 20 minutes. It's your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your mid-morning forecast update for the whole state of Alabama. And take a look at the picture from our sky watchers for this morning. This was actually from yesterday evening. This is from Daniel Harbin. He was in Madison at this point in the Lake Forest area. It's a beautiful sunset here over the lake. We've had a lot of really pretty and calm nights here lately for sure. And the mornings have been pretty nice as well, even though we're starting to warm up in the afternoons for sure. Satellite and radar a little bit more interesting this morning than it has been here lately. Got a few little showers that moved through eastern Madison County, maybe northwestern Jackson County just in the last hour or so. Looks like there's a few sprinkles left over there as it gets into Marshall County. And you can see a few more clouds in the northern part of the state than the rest of the state. Rest of the state still under full sunshine at this point. But again, we've got an upper level disturbance that's moving through. So again, it could bring a few sprinkles in a few isolated spots in the northern part of the state, and even maybe in the southern part of the state later on today and into tomorrow, but generally still expecting a dry forecast. There's not much moisture to work with out there. And looking at Orange Beach, this is what I would expect to see in most places across the state, just blue skies. The temperature's at 80 degrees. Dew point still pretty nice at 67 degrees. Just a beautiful start there. Look at the color of the water there at Orange Beach. So really great to have these cameras in our Sky Camera network. And moving up to the north just a little bit, Spanish Fort, looking over towards Mobile. You can see the skyline of Mobile over here across the bay and across the bayway there. It's beautiful. It's 82 degrees there with, again, relatively dry air mass of a dew point of 67 degrees. Moving further to the north, Montgomery looking beautiful as well. Not a cloud in the sky. 85 degrees there. And again, the dew points are in the upper 50s. And so we've continued to keep a dry air mass in place over the course of the state over a number of days here, which is sometimes hard to do this time of year. Alabaster, beautiful look there looking towards Double Mountain and Oak Mountain as well. It's 84 degrees there and just a beautiful start there with hardly a cloud in the sky in Alabaster either. Moving up towards the northwest, Cherokee, again, you can see a few more clouds as we saw on the satellite. It's 76 degrees there and just a few more clouds, but no rain to speak of there. Now looking at the Huntsville camera, looking southeast towards Hampton Cove, it's mostly dissipated at this point and moved further to the south, but I think I may still see a few little rain shafts in the distance here, but earlier it had that rain shower move right past here to the southeast, and it had a really pretty view there for a bit, but still pretty view right now, but that shower has since passed. So what we're watching for today and through the weekend, again, mostly dry through next week. We can't rule out these scattered, isolated shower or twos that'll may give you a few sprinkles for a few minutes in a few spots over the next day or so, but generally going to be dry, and we expect to kind of further dry out and once this little disturbance gets through here. Highs will be mostly in the 90 to 93 degree range and even into the mid 90s as we get into the weekend and early next week. And then pleasant nights will still be the story because we'll still have a relatively dry air mass in place. So it's going to warm up very easily in the afternoon, but it'll also cool down fairly easily at night due to that dry air mass. So again, the nighttime should be pretty nice, but just warm afternoons. Here's our low temperatures so far today. And again, you can see these cool mornings here. It's 57 degrees was the low in Gadsden, got to 59 in Coleman. The cool spot down in Eufaula, which you wouldn't normally expect at 55 degrees. Again, further to the east, we've seen a little bit drier air mass generally the last several days. And further to the west, still down into the low 60s, even into the far west part and southwest part of the state, and even only 64 or getting down to 64 degrees right there along the coast at Gulf Shore. So that is pretty cool for that area. Skywatcher reports as far as lows this morning. Steve Jones and Heflin, which has been one of the cooler spots lately, has gotten down to 55 degrees this morning. Christopher Owens and Morris down to 57 degrees in northern Jefferson County. Owens Crossroads, Scott Shields got 59. Matt Nicholson in Oxford, further to the southeast, 59. And then Valerie Hughes over in Tuscaloosa got down to 62. So again, I think maybe a slightly cooler morning in some ways than we saw yesterday. Observed lows for Huntsville. Want to just kind of take a look at what's happened so far in September for various sites around the state. And again, we've had mostly, you've had kind of a mixed bag. You started off around normal, had one above normal day as far as lows, then it's been below normal ever since then, since basically this week started. And as we look at not just Huntsville, but we'll go down to Birmingham, similar story where it's been quite a bit below average. Montgomery actually mentioned this earlier this week, broke a record low temperature back on Monday morning. It hit 56 degrees there, but you see a lot of blue showing up on the calendar for Montgomery. And even Mobile hasn't seen a single low above average so far. Everything either below average or around average for the lows. So again, as far as the lows, as far as the mornings have been concerned, it's been pretty nice out there across the state so far this month. Temperatures right now, we've warmed up into the 70s and 80s in some spots. We're at 79 in Auburn, 76 in Clinton. We've hit 80 degrees in Selma already. Looks like we're getting into the low 80s down towards the coast. And the forecast for today, again, we expect to just gradually kind of degree by degree warm up those afternoon highs of the next few days. So we expect to get to about 90 degrees in Birmingham, could get to 91 in Florence and Tuscaloosa and Demopolis as well, Selma as well. Again, low 90s, pretty ubiquitous across a good portion of the state. Some places, though, mainly in the upper 80s, especially the eastern part of the state. Here's a look kind of the overall situation. So we had a lot of dry air over the entire state the last couple of days. A little bit of that's been kind of shunted down to the south just a little bit more. And this right here actually is the little upper level short wave that's coming through here, a little disturbance that's going to help to kick off those showers that we've seen here a little bit this morning in the northeastern part of the states. And this black area is not quite as much dry air as what we've seen the last couple of days. So that's helping to provide just enough moisture and just enough lift with that disturbance coming through to generate a couple of isolated showers. But again, nothing significant. Most places, again, will stay dry today. And looking at the futurecast, you'll see that here, again, showing a little speck of a shower possible as we move through the morning here. As we get into the afternoon, could even see a few specks further to the south. In central Alabama, could see a few of those as well. And again, even western part of the state might see a speck or two of shower on the radar. And this model is also trying to show that for tomorrow as well, further towards the south. So as this disturbance rotates through further to the south as we get into tomorrow, again, could see a few specks, but you can still see that the vast majority of the state stays dry and warm as we move through the next couple of days. All right, as we take a look at our updated drought monitor. So Thursday is drought monitor day where we get an update on the drought monitor. This was last week's where we were already starting to see some severe drought begin to move into parts of Marengo County. Now we move to this week's update and the drought is starting to spread a little bit on the western side of the state. So we've seen the moderate, which you see is that tan color there, start to expand quite a bit into Tuscaloosa County, Greene and Hale and Perry counties. And again, a lot of the counties in the western and southwestern part of the state starting to see the dryness increase and getting into those moderate drought conditions. And still looks like the severe drought still confined to the same general area as last week. But this is something we'll need to be watching as we expect to stay in this dry pattern for the short term at least, and sort of the long term as well. And looking at the rainfall outlook through next week, through Wednesday of next week, you can see barely anything across the state. Maybe, again, a few sprinkles over the next couple of days, but we're going to continue to stay dry. And so we'll have to keep an eye on the soil moisture and potential fire weather conditions as we head into next week. And looking at your 7-day forecast, again, it's nothing but sunshine. Again, we've got that little chance of a shower with that upper level disturbance, but most people are not going to see anything. We're getting in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. And the warming trend, you can see getting close to the mid 90s in the northern part of the state as we get into late weekend, early next week. Again, but the lows, though, still not too bad, getting down to the 60s as we have relatively low humidity. And then for South Alabama, keeping that little small chance of rain in the forecast, although, again, most days nobody's going to see anything, but a few people might see a drop or two here and there. But generally, sunshine, warmth, and comfortable mornings, it continues to be the story for South Alabama as well. Well, that is your Alabama forecast update. We'll have another one coming up this afternoon on the Alabama Weather Network.